Hello everyone, my name is Young Falcon, and I'm a humongous Monster Hunter fan ever since I've played my first MH title, Monster Hunter 3 Tri for the Nintendo Wii. It's been a blast following the series ever since, and I've loved my time hunting monsters, making friends along the way, and just having a good old time. However, unfortunately, I fell off the bandwagon when the largest game in the franchise dropped. Yeah, sadly, I only put about 12 to 15 hours in a Monster Hunter world. No reason as to why I fell off, just other games came out at the time, and then they kept pumping in new content and expansion passes and all of that stuff, and I really just felt left out, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like it was a live service title. If you don't play from the start, you kind of miss everything, and the grind to get back there is quite a grueling one in the world of Monster Hunter, at least what I thought. I'm getting back into it slowly but surely with the PS5 version, but ultimately I decided to fully hop back into Monster Hunter when the new Switch Monster Hunter Rise dropped. Which brings us to today's review. Let's talk about why I really love all the changes and things they've done with Monster Hunter Rise, and what makes this game so incredibly fun.
This is for my fellow hunters!
Monster Hunter Rise takes place in a fantasy feudal Japan. You create your avatar, dog, and cat, and I really love the new Monster Hunter character editor, by the way. Having everything be gender neutral is an incredibly nice touch, right down to the voices. Great progressive stuff, Capcom. Anyways, our story begins with you waking up gently to start the first day of hunts. The game introduces us to Hinoa and Minoto. They'll be our quest givers for this adventure. Elder Fusion is the leader of the village and gives us various tutorials and items to boost our stats throughout the game. During the story, you complete quests to prepare yourself for the incoming rampage, a horde of monsters that attack the village every once in a while, but as of recent, they've attacked the village in increased frequencies, which kickstarts our journey. You grind monsters, skin them, get better gear, and fight the rampage, rinse repeat until you find the source of the monsters leading the charge, destroy it, and save the village, living happily ever after. The story is oddly charming for once. Characters are one note for sure, but very likable. The townspeople are actually pretty fun to interact with, and the side quests they offer brings in a ton of new mechanics, such as sending your buddies out to scout for monster parts and mining ore, or being able to unlock new meals and buff your character. There's a ton of reasons to actually sit down, interact with these one-note characters, complete these side quests, and the charming writing and the puns and stuff like that help the grind feel a lot less tedious and a lot more fun. Overall, the main story is quite the engaging tale that left a humongous smile on my face from start to finish, especially setting up to complete the last Hunter rank quest. It was just peak anime perfection. Truly a fun time, and I really am excited to see what they add with future updates. Monster Hunter Rise is, quite simply put, a gorgeous title, and it all starts right here. This comfy hub is so well crafted, it feels like a welcome return to the 3DS era Monster Hunter titles. One of my biggest turnaways from World was how massive it felt to move from place to place. I hate to admit it, but I definitely found myself running into the same locations, repeating places over and over, and just getting all confused about where to go and what to do next, despite the map trying to point me in the right direction. In Rise, that's not an issue. From the moment you start, you have all your important locations in 3 cardinal directions. In the front is our blacksmith and shopkeeper. Here you craft your new armor and weapons for your palicos and buddies, and stock up on potions and goods to heal/buff ourselves during hunts. The left side is the canteen plus management box. We eat that good food for buffs and we put on stronger gear for the hunts. Further down the left corridor is the gathering hub where we grab quests and all that jazz. Finally, we have the right side, which is one long path we take to reach the Buddy Plaza. This essentially functions as our Rise Wait Simulator. We send buddies out to quests to gather materials, we can hire extra buddies for our own personal quest, and send out buddies on submarines to even make trades. And if all of that is still too much of a hassle, you could just pop up the menu and fast travel to each location by selecting it on a drop-down list, which, to be fair, is very similar to Monster Hunter World. I love how easily the game presents its systems through funny puns, strong writing, and easy to follow tutorial prompts, and how it doesn't try to force you into tutorial sections if you don't really feel like you need them. If you don't want to sit down and learn how to ride your wyverns and overall how to play a Monster Hunter game, you can skip past it and go right to the main quest. And you know what? That freedom of choice is absolutely A1. Anyways, after some setup, we're thrusted into the quest. Shrine Ruins is our first starting point. A great, lush, and colorful forest with some stunning waterfalls to explore, along with some secret subcamps and nook and crannies that make unlocking the foggy map a satisfying experience. This map also shows how much verticality will play a role when it comes to tackling monsters and exploring each location, thanks to the brand new wire bug mechanic, the likes of which we'll explore much more in depth when we get to the gameplay portion of this review. Aesthetically, all the maps are fantastic, from the frozen tundra with the rushing water rapids and dilapidated shrines, from the sandy canyons and underground mines to the jaw-dropping smokestacks the volcanoes produce. All of it is incredible for the Switch, both in handheld and docked modes. It's truly stunning what the art direction can do for a game like this. Monster designs are as epic as always. I love how each beast feels like a kaiju, and thanks again to the new gameplay mechanics, the sense of scale is off the charts, unlike any Monster Hunter I've ever played. Nothing beats pulling up on a monster and really feeling how tiny you are compared to the titans you have to do battle with. It's just incredible. Some of my personal favorite monster designs were the Bishaten, this weird lemur monkey kind of guy who's throwing fruit at you and stuff, the Goshawk ice bear who is really rad, Tigrex who is like a tiger T-Rex thing. It's weird. I really like his design, and the last two major bosses I won't spoil, along a myriad of others I don't want to fully dive into for the sake of brevity. Now, this isn't to say there's any bad monster designs. Honestly, a lot of them look great except for yeah, what in the world is that? Anyways, there's also one incredibly essential part to every single Monster Hunter game's presentation that makes each hunt a particularly special experience for every one of us out there. And you already know what I'm about to say. It's none other than that music. Capcom did an incredible job of combining the simple approach of the 3DS titles with the sprawling open worlds that, well, Monster Hunter World provided, but this presentation wouldn't mean anything if we didn't have some good This is the best Monster Hunter has ever felt. Character movement is beyond nimble in this title thanks to the wire bug. It lets you scale walls, scale beast, vault, wall run, and everything else under the sun. The wire bugs are also used to expand every weapon in your moveset. They have two functions, a movement-based attack or a hard-hitting counter. These can also be combined with switch skills, unlockable special moves that give your attacks an extra oomph, similar to the Hunter Arts from Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, but sometimes they can cost a wire bug or stamina or whatever it may be to make the cost of pulling off such devastating moves a little bit punishing for the player, the likes of which offer a great risk versus reward. Now, some switch skills are definitely better than others, like the reposition the bowgun provides with the cost of one wire bug, making a giant swinging arc to get a couple extra hits in on a monster, or the aerial demon sword tornado that the dual blades can pull off, letting you ricochet up a monster, doing a ton of damage both on the way up and on the way down back to the floor. For my playthrough, I mainly stuck with the charge blade, making up for my lacking speed with the powerful wire bug counterattacks which fill up my files and of course allow me to use my fast-paced movement to prevent hard knockdowns, always keeping me engaged in the fight. Thanks to this game's phenomenal movement, for once in a Monster Hunter, I'm very excited to check out each and every weapon and unlock all the switch skills to keep going into the core loop of hunting, carving, and capturing monsters, as it seems more engaging than ever before. Monsters are also a ton of fun to brawl with. Some of these flying beasts with powerful gusts of wind that can stun you and others with their screams or wings. Some are just raw brawlers. There's many different types. My personal faves consist of Magnamalo, a brand new monster who has a Kami-esque dive kick with a giant AoE explosion and the ability to cause a Hellblight status, which the likes of which causes a ticking time bomb to go off unless you dodge out of the way via wire pools, or else it's going to result in an instant kill. He is a tough first encounter, and his elite form throws even more moves that I dare not spoil into the fray that make fighting him a grueling war of attrition. Another favorite is the fast-paced Bishaten. The quick little lemur ape thing and his poison fruit is quite a terrifying yet fun fighting experience. The way he darts and dodges around the field is always pretty fun to take on. He goes down pretty quick with a good team, but no coordination will lead to a slow and poisonous death. Just think on your feet and you're gonna be a-okay. Oh, and by far one of the more interesting fights of the game was none other than the this thing, it's on screen, a slippery beast that spews high-powered soapy water and bubbles that can make your controls and dodge rolls extremely slippery. It also can cling to walls and honestly is quite the challenging foe. All of the new monsters added in Rise have really fun and interesting movesets to take on, and even when they quote-unquote rehash some of these monsters during Elite Quests, they don't really bother me as much as before thanks to them getting expanded movesets and of course more opportunities to gain more powerful armor and accessories to drastically buff your stats. Couple that with some outstanding map design, it really went a long way to make me keep wanting to replay and grind for items, especially thanks to the expedition quest where you could just hop into any one of the hubs you've unlocked and go ahead and start mining ore, collecting bugs and everything under the sun to further get yourself, equipped for the next fight. It's truly 10 out of 10 stuff. Oh, and the sound design goes a long way making each fight stand out. The crunchy sound effects of blades cutting through a monster's skin, the roars heard in the distance before a turf war kicks off, the music that plays during the monster hunt is just so great. And after the monster runs off, you have this very oddly satisfying and peaceful wind down time. So yeah, the core hunts are exactly what I'm looking for when it comes to playing a Monster Hunter game. However, they did add a brand new mode, which is the Rampages as mentioned previously. This is basically Monster Hunter's take on a tower defense section. You pick up various towers using ballistas, cannons, barrel bombs, etc. that you can either mount yourself or send an AI to fight the monsters for you. If getting on cannons and holding the A button down isn't quite you can get hands-on up close and personal by doing all your usual monster hunting stuff. The Rampages are kinda interesting. With a team, they're honestly a bit of fun, and I like being able to put down hero characters like the Elder Fugan to help you fight these guys. It's really cool seeing everyone interact and, hold the line to protect the village, but to be fair, they are a little bit on the dull side compared to the multi-layered hunts that the base game provides. They don't last too long or overstay their welcome, especially if you have a good team. They're usually around 5 to 10 minutes depending on, how strong your team is, so it's no skin off my back during a grind fest if I need certain materials. I really just see it as a nice break from the standard hunts, and I'm perfectly okay with that. You aren't really forced to do them unless you're going for specific gear, and again, it's not like it takes too long or ever outstays its welcome like, say, a traditional monster hunt. So, Monster Hunter Rise is quite simply the best Monster Hunter I've ever played. It's fast, it's simple, with gorgeous armor, tons of mechanics to cut down on grinding, an extremely enthralling set of locations and monster fights that I had an absolute pleasure of taking on. The movement and weapon combos just bring me great joy to experiment with, and I can't get enough of how great the game feels to play. If you're a fan of those MMO, style boss rushes or boss rush games in general, or obviously a Monster Hunter fan, you really owe it to yourself to check this one out, especially if you're just looking for a game to play with your homies. This is definitely one to pick up. It's an incredible game, definitely worth every penny. With more free updates and content to come out soon, we're definitely going to be revisiting this game on the channel for many months to come. Thank you all so much for watching the Monster Hunter Rise review. If anything about this game was interesting, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. If you already own the game and I've played through a bit, talk about some of your favorite moments. I'd love to have that conversation. If you want to further keep up with updates and things like that for the channel, you can hit the subscription button and of course follow me on twitter.com and join the Discord to come talk about general video game, media, anime, MCU stuff, all that fun nerdy things, right? Thank you all for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.